Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something that's built, one very difficult moment at a time. And right now, you need it more than ever. And in this video, I'm breaking down what resilience really is. There are so many people, too many people around the world getting it wrong. And I'm offering 5 ways you can start building it today. Let's get it. Okay, first, let's just define resilience, what it really is. Because it's in the zeitgeist, and so many leaders and employers and executives are like, we need more resilience, we need resilient leaders, we need a resilience workforce, and everyone's seeking it out, but they're getting it wrong about what the true meaning of resilience is. So many believe that it is about falling down, going through hard times, getting back up and keep going. Going through hardship, going through the challenge, get back up, keep going. Fall down, get up, keep going. Fall down, get up, keep going, keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. That's not resilience. That's a recipe for change fatigue. Resilience is actually falling down, getting back up to understand, what did I just learn? Taking time to reflect, what have I learned during this difficult time? How can I improve moving forward? How have I grown because of this? And then stepping forward. And so it's going through difficult times, stepping forward with intention and having grown through that challenge. You know, I so often define resilience as a muscle because I think about my times as a D1 athlete, throwing shot put and discus, always lifting weights, always in the weight room. And we build our physical muscles by creating some type of strain on that muscle. Lifting the weights, we strain the muscle, but then the following day, we rest that muscle group, right? So I'd work out my upper body on a Monday, work out my lower body on a Tuesday, and then come back to my upper body on Wednesday. And on that Tuesday, my upper body was resting. And the fibers were being replenished, were being restored, were strengthening. And then they were stronger for the next day. That's what resilience is. It's about going through a lot of complexity, a lot of change, having to push through hardship, a lot of difficult emotion, and that idea of falling down or falling backwards, but then getting up to assess, what have I learned? Taking that time for reflection and recovery, and then moving forward, stronger and better, moving ahead. So now let's dive into 5 tactics to build and nurture that real-world resilience, now that we know what true resilience is. The first tactic, and it's going to sound a little bit ridiculous, but schedule your stress. So what that looks like is every week, give yourself some time, 10, 15 minutes, to actually think about what might be stressors in my life right now. What might be causing me a bit of stress, and then name that. This enables you to not keep your stress bottled up or keep it so that it simmers and is held within your body. You actually create a container to put it into. And I love to journal. I'm an avid journaler. I journal every day. And often I will ask myself, what's the hard thing today? Or what's the hard thing this week? And I'll name it, I'll have a container for it, and I'll know and be able to see it. And that way I find that it doesn't take hold of me and it doesn't overwhelm me. So again, find time to schedule your stress and get in tune with you, what might be stressing you at this time. The second tactic is one of my favorites, and this is committing to what I call low-risk failure. This is you committing to showing up in a room at a training, to showing up to an activity that you do outside of work where you can say with confidence, I am the dumbest person in this room at this thing. But you know what? I'm doing it on purpose because I want to force myself into a zone of discomfort and to a zone where I'm likely to fail. And by doing that, you are intentionally doing that fall down, making that mistake so you can feel the discomfort that happens because of it, and then find ways to move yourself forward. This is building muscle memory so that when the really hard times hit at work, when the really hard times hit in other aspects of life, you can remember, oof, you know what? I have been in this place before. I felt this discomfort. Yes, it was challenging, but you know what? I was better because of it. I learned and I grew because of it. For me personally, it's yoga. So my wife has gotten me into yoga over the past 3 or 4 years, and I have literally stretched myself outside of my comfort zone. But by building that memory, now when change hits in other aspects of life, you know what? It's difficult, but I can get through this. I've been here before. It's the muscle memory. This is such a powerful tactic. So stretch yourself. This is about staying on that growth edge in between where you're really comfortable and complacent and where you are terrified and this is so uncomfortable. Strive to live on that growth edge. The third tactic is to practice something that I call emotional replay. So after every difficult situation, whether it be a difficult conversation with a manager, whether it be having just led some portion of a project that went through a lot of change or there's a lot of disruption, something that challenged you, no matter if it was shortly lived or maybe it was something that stretched over months, take a moment to do an emotional replay. And I want you to ask yourself these questions. What did I feel when going through that experience? What did I learn because of experiencing it? And what will I do differently now that I have this learning and this understanding? This makes your readiness, your willingness to learn from challenge, to learn from difficult situations, it starts building that as a practice, and it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I really believe it's that pushes high performers and those that are really always stretching and seemingly leading the pack. It's what keeps them ahead because they're always finding ways to grow and to learn from mistakes, and they even stretch to learn from others' mistakes, right? So I always, the executives that we work with, the enterprises that we work across, we invite individuals to take time. Usually it's 24 hours, so give them a day off where they're taking time to rest, to recover, and then also thinking 3 ways that they've learned or that they've grown over the past month, over the past couple months. And then they're to bring those back to the team so that the team can understand and sidestep those same mistakes and employ those same learnings. Not only can we accelerate our own growth when we can learn from our fall downs, from our pitfalls, from our mistakes, but we can also help grow others, right, and sharing what we've learned through it. So these are 3 really powerful questions to ask yourself in a moment of emotional replay. The 4th tactic is to phone a friend before you really need to. So what do I mean by that? You know, when we're going through just the craziness of life and we feel overwhelmed and we've hit this wall and we're struggling, of course you want to phone a friend because you need help because you're drowning. But I'm talking about preventative measures, to call trusted advisors, trusted folks, friends, colleagues, that you can just talk about, you know what, over the past few weeks, here's what I've learned, here's some mistakes that I've made, any advice or anything that you would offer as I've gone through that, right? So have a regular drumbeat. I will tell you, in forming my company, one of the very first moves that I made was establishing an advisory board. These are individuals that I trust. These are individuals that I know have my best interests at heart. And these are individuals that I go to on a quarterly basis just to talk about how the business is progressing and get their input and feedback and thoughts and ideas. It is one of the best assets, best decisions ever made to help accelerate the growth of my business. And you can do it on a personal level. Establish a personal board of advisors, somebody that, or a group of folks that you can call on a regular basis to talk about, this is how things are going, here's how I'm managing this, what am I missing, what could I be doing better, any ideas. Make this a regular thing, and you can prevent, you know, a lot of the meltdown that could happen and when you're calling people in an emergency, and now it's just let's nurture the connection and establish that advisory board. The 5th and final tip is to celebrate the micro wins and celebrate them loudly. Resilience isn't just built and nurtured in the fall down and the mistake, but also in the bounce back. And you can help the momentum of that bounce back when you're celebrating it, right? When you see someone who's experiencing something that was really challenging, a major setback, and they show up in a certain way where they're expressing what they've learned, they're admitting to the mistake, admitting to the failure, celebrate that. Celebrate that as loudly as you can. There's one tactic that you can use, and this is whether you lead a team or not, maybe it's just with peers or maybe even with your family, with your spouse. Ask, what was one hard thing that you did today? What was a hard thing? And you know, it's going to be relative each and every day. Sometimes it's not going to sound as hard, but it's the hardest thing you did in that day. Ask what that is and then celebrate it. Congratulations, let's go get some ice cream. Shake a hand, give a high five, give some type of reward. What is the one hard thing that you did today? Heck yeah, you did that. Congratulations. Before you go, best part, free. Link below, free chapter to my book, Change Enthusiasm. How to harness the power of emotion for leadership and success. This is a mindset that will help you nurture your resiliency. And there's actually an entire chapter on resilience. The chapter I'm giving you for free is the introduction to the whole concept, the whole framework. Again, no cost, just click the link below. And before we meet again, keep learning, keep growing, keep bouncing back to learn in every failure and every setback. And of course, above all else, keep rocking.